Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we're going to tell you about 4 of them.
4 of them. 4 Allplay games
Allplay games that are coming to crowdfunding right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can maybe even click that link down below and learn more about them. Or wait, because we're going to tell you.
We are indeed going to tell you all about them.
Because we got to play all 4.
All 4.
Some multiple times.
All very different.
Very different games. And now we've condensed our brain energy to tell you something about them.
We're here to share them with you.
Who we think these games are for.
Exactly, yeah.
Now the first one we'll dive into is Oddland.
Ooh, yeah. Oddland is designed by Dan Schumacher. Its art is done by Cam Kendall. And we're here to tell you more about it.
Exactly. Here's an overview. Now in Oddland, you'll compete to score the most points from your species by building a collective map in the center of the table. Each turn, you'll place a map card in the center, either adjacent to the current map or overlapping 2 squares at most. You'll then place one of your species on the map card you've just placed. Each species will score differently, and only one can inhabit each territory, which is a grouping of one of the 4 terrains. After each player has placed all their species, you'll score all of them, and the player with the most points wins. And that's Oddland. Pretty simple.
It really is, and that's actually one of the best parts about this game is the simple mechanics. All you're really doing on your turn is playing a card and playing one of your critters.
Critters.
Yeah, which is pretty fun because they're like hybrid animals.
They are hybrid animals, and I feel like everyone's favorite is going to be the Pigeorse.
Pigeorse.
It's the most terrifying, beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is pretty funny. I like the Pangaroo. I think
Pangaroo?
it's called. Yeah.
But I think what's really interesting too is each of them scores differently.
Yes.
So mechanically you're evaluating which one should I place, which one will score me the most points. Am I going to place one early on and really work to score it the most points? Or is there a sneaky way I can kind of sneak in and score a lot of points at the end with another one? So there's that mechanic that really flows throughout the game.
Yeah, and you also have to be careful because other players are placing, because it's a central board, other players are going to be placing onto this board, which might disrupt your scoring, and that means you've got to like balance and give and take with what you have based on the critters that you're able to place, because everybody is scoring the same animals, just when they place them is the important part.
I think that's a beautiful part of the game because that player interaction is what really makes the game shine.
Exactly.
Because not only are you working for yourself, you're thinking about how you're going to sabotage everybody else in this Oddland. Someone put a Pigeorse right there. I'm not going to let it have the most territory. I'm going to ruin that territory. So it will score not a lot, and my Pigeorse will score more.
Exactly.
And that's Oddland.
Next up, we have Money. This one is an older game that's being reprinted. It's published, it's published by Allplay, obviously, but it's designed by Rainer Knizia, and the art is done by Anne Heidsieck.
Let's give you an overview of this one. In Money, your goal is to score the most points. You'll do this by trading and managing a variety of currencies. At the start of each round, each player will secretly select cards from their hand to bid. Now, what are you bidding for? Well, more money. The player with the highest bid will get to choose to swap their bid with either the currencies in the middle of the table or with another player. Now the player with the next highest bid, or the player that has been swapped with, will go next until every player has had a chance to swap, or withdraw, as you can keep your bid as well. Now at the end of the round, you'll refill the face-up cards so each side has at least 4, and you'll continue playing until the deck has run out, at which point you'll score. If you've collected more than 200 of a single currency, you're in a strong position and will score all of it. Now if you've collected between 110 and 190, you'll subtract 100 from the score. And finally, if you collected 100 or less, you'll score nothing for that currency. On top of that, you'll score all the gold and silver you've collected, and an extra 100 for every set of 3 cards you've collected that are exactly the same. Money, money, money! Lots of money.
Yeah, that's true.
Who do you think will enjoy this one?
I don't know. Honestly, I think if you are really into bidding, like hidden bidding, this game is for you. It's really quick and really smooth, as are like all of these games that we're going to be talking about. But this one in particular feels like a bid set collection where you're just exchanging foreign currencies and you're trying to come out on top.
It's really interesting because you'll see also this player's going for this one, this player's going for this one. So you'll start bidding a certain currency to maybe get another player to take yours instead or to trade with you so you can have something else.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of mind games going over there. But there's also a point where you can potentially pivot. You see everyone's discarding one of the currencies. Maybe you begin to take it. And I think that's a really interesting element of the game, of that adaptive nature.
Yeah, there's these nuances, of course, in collecting, but there's also the nuances in the way that you bid. Because maybe you have like a lot of good cards in your hand. How do you decide which ones you're going to use to collect your bid? Are you maybe going to bluff your way to just being able to keep your cards? Or what might that look like when it comes time to make a strategic power play?
And not only is this a reprint, but they've added silver now. Yeah. The old version didn't have silver, it was just gold. So there's a little bit of variety in this new game that levels it up just a slight bit.
And that's money. And now on to the next game, Runes.
Which is a card crafting game.
And if you're familiar with card crafting games, this one is designed by John D. Clair. Its art is done by Jake Morrison.
Let's tell you about it. Are you ready to card craft? Runes is played in rounds. Each player will receive a hand of 9 rune cards, which you'll proceed to play with. At the start of each round, you can upgrade one of your cards and shift them from day to night. And then you'll take turns playing. The first player will lead by playing 1 rune card or a set of 2 or more matching cards. The players following must play the exact same number of cards, either equal to or of higher rank. If the same card is played of the same rank, the next player in turn order will have to pass their turn. You'll keep playing until only one player remains, at which point you'll discard the played cards and they'll lead a new turn. Now you can also take bonus actions when you play cards. You can stake a claim, adding a claim card to the card. Next round, if this card is drawn by another player, they'll have to give it to you instead. You can also add a discovery by spending torches. These will upgrade your cards, changing them in a variety of ways. Or you can take a discovery action. This one, for example, relights your torches. You'll keep playing until one player is out of cards. At this point, they've won the round. You'll continue playing until only one player remains and score the points accordingly. You'll reset by flipping the torches face up, shuffling the cards, dealing 9 to each player, and the player with the least points will start in the next round. Now, once the victory condition has been met or the 4 rounds have lapsed, the victor is declared.
Runes. What did you think about Runes?
Well, I think there's a lot of variety in how you craft the cards. And I think what I particularly enjoyed was the way that you can claim the cards.
Yes.
Because you can create a set of 2 that are the same number, you claim them, and then you always have a high pair potentially.
Exactly, yeah.
And that can be really clever because you start adding things onto it and really strengthening those cards through the market in the center as well, which is really interesting.
Yeah, the upgrades can really put the trick-taking aspect of the entire game on its head, because all of a sudden your first round feels like you know all the cards that are out there, and of course you will have a sense of all the cards that are out there, but now you've got to pay attention to like maybe what cards have been upgraded, so it adds a bit of, I don't want to say luck, but it adds a bit of different feel that you would get from a trick-taking game, and that brought like the uniqueness to this game on top of being able to claim the cards and up your hand size while somebody else loses a card.
Very true. I think in general this game is very unique. It has the card crafting that I think John D. Clair is very known for, but it throws trick-taking into it, it throws shorter form game too, because typically a lot of the card crafting games are much longer. But now you're discovering runes, you're upgrading cards, you're switching from day to night. There's a lot of mechanics, but I feel like they do flow quite smoothly into each other.
They do, yeah. Yeah. And that's Runes. Now we've got one last game to talk about, and that is
Vegas Strip.
Vegas Strip is designed by Peter C. Hayward, and its art is done by Vincent Dutrait.
Ready to explore the casinos? Let's tell you about it. In Vegas Strip, you'll navigate casinos, aiming to scout out which ones are rigged or clean. You'll win if you score the most points by the end of the 3 rounds. Now, in the beginning of the round, each player will receive 2 tip-off cards and choose one casino to be clean, while the other is rigged. Each player will do this, so in a 3-player game, for example, there will be 3 rigged casinos and 3 clean casinos. Then, you'll take turns placing your number tiles underneath each casino, aiming to be the leader, or sometimes not the leader. Now here's some placement rules. You can only have 2 tiles at each casino, and you can never place tiles so that you tie the leader. And you cannot place your 7 at a casino you know is rigged. Now, why did we do all of this? Well, at the end of the round, when everyone has placed all their number tiles, each casino rewards chips. Now, if the casino is rigged, the leader will claim the jackpot chip, getting 10 points. Everyone else receives nothing. If the casino is clean, the leader gets caught cheating and they receive nothing, while everyone else receives the amount equal to their tiles there. And that's Biggest Strip. You'll play over 3 rounds, paying attention to the character cards in each casino and how your opponents place their number tiles, as you may be able to deduce which casino is rigged or clean. Will you visit all the 6 casinos? Will you place all your chips in the right spot to get the most money?
Capitalize on what you know.
Rigged or clean.
That's really what this game is about, is kind of deducing what you can figure out and what you can't really figure out, how you watch the other players place their tiles and kind of like guess at what they might be implying or being sneaky about, because you want to make sure that you're getting as much money as possible throughout the game.
This is definitely a game that evolves with your players as well, because the more that you play it, the more that you begin to have that meta game of like, ooh, Tyler placed a 6 here right away.
Yes.
He usually does that when the casino is rigged. Or is he trying to trick us this time? So you start getting into the mind games of like, what are you going to do and which casino are you really going to visit?
Yeah. And of course, you have some information, so you're able to like build off of that and trick your opponents as you go along. It's really interesting to be able to activate the certain character abilities. And then additionally, the thing that I found quite interesting on top of that is the 2-tile limit. So you'll end up being very restricted in which casinos you are able to place. And sometimes that can work not so well in your favor because it pushes you to the lead in a clean casino. And that's no good.
It's no good. And it is interesting too, because we've definitely had moments where at the end, someone places and you're like, I knew it. I knew it. You were saving it and you took it and I knew it. So I think there's a lot of game dynamics that really flow into that. And the one thing I'll add too is there's a lot of variability in this game. Because of the 10 different character cards that can go into the different casinos, you can see quite a lot of what can happen.
We also didn't even touch on the fact that there's like a team mode that you can play. So if you have a larger number of players, this game works for that situation, and it's interesting the dynamic that you can create with your team.
Kind of gives the nods of like an older trick-taking card game where you have some information that you have collectively and you're trying to trick everybody else into thinking, because you both know which ones are rigged and clean and you have the same set. And then you're trying to just deduce together. So you're not in it alone. Now you have to think about what the other player is doing, and maybe they'll mess it up and be too obvious.
Yeah, maybe you've got to try to be on the same wavelength, and if you're not...
Exactly. And that is...
Biggest Strip.
Now those are the 4 games in the Allplay collection that are coming in those cute little square boxes.
And you can learn more about them in the link down below. Of course, if you have any questions, let us know down there in the comments as well.
We're happy to answer. We've played all of these games and we can give you a little bit more insight if there's anything that you are curious about.
And of course, if you liked this video, give us that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. We love talking board games and we'd love it if you joined along.
Thank you again to Allplay for sponsoring this video. And for our question of the day,
what do we got?
Well, which of these games are the ones that you would probably bring out to your game night? Is there one that especially was drawn to you? Do you have a favorite?
Which one stood out? Let us know.
We'd love to hear. Maybe we have the same one. We'll find out in the comments.
Until next time, though.
We will see you later. Thank you.
Bye.